So I was gonna make this really cool Lego Ninjago set, but then I saw this part lying on the floor and decided, hey, this would make a pretty good Tablescrap MOC. This part came out as part of the Invasion from Below Hero Factory wave, and I decided, hey, it's really cool. It can be a claw, but it can also be skirt armor. So let's get started with the torso. Being a Tablescrap MOC means that my parts are limited, so I have a little bit less to choose from, but that doesn't mean I can't create something cool. So let's get that chest all done and dusted. I want this chest to connect here, but I don't quite have the parts right now, so let's attach this piece, which allows you to connect this guy in right through the axle here. This is a Nuva chest plate from 2002, and it's still getting seen use today. Isn't that awesome? But this guy kind of likes to wobble, which can be fixed by inputting an axle. That axle won't go in fully, but it does leave itself kind of exposed on the back, which gives you enough room for a bow rock eye, which smooths out the back. Then you attach this suspicious looking piece, and let's quickly move on to back here with this, so that now we have, you know what, let me just push this out a little, there we go. That locks into place, and now he has a cool set of wings. And now let's hide that suspicious looking axle hole with some armor. But I don't want him to be too utterly monochromatic, so let's add this red head, or red neck with black helmet head, and that gives him a really unique appearance despite the limited number of pieces. Now let's get started on his arm. Taking these two normal CCBS parts allows us to create some simple armor, which otherwise, since I'm running out of pieces, I wouldn't be able to do. But hey, look at that. And just to make sure that the color scheme is nice and consistent, we will, there we go, nice. But a good arm is nothing without a good hand, so let's build that next. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend using a red ball joint that's exposed, but if you connect that onto another one inside of a Mata hand, you get this nice looking finger part. Double that up and add an intervening connecting piece, and you're starting to have a nice looking hand. But now it's looking a little bit empty, so if you add a 3 long axle piece, some good old gears, and you got yourself a big old chunky Bionicle looking hand. Now that we have a hand done, it's time to move on to the other arm. I'm planning for this arm to have mostly the same structure, but to be really long to have that claw effect. So this is going to have a friction adder joint just to add some extra stability. I know it looks like a cancer cell, but this is what I got. But we can't have no armor, so let's attach a chest piece and this other piece, and that's a nice big chunky transition. Keeping the red and black theme going, let's put these claws to good use. Uh-oh. Looks like my axle broke. Something that some glue can't fix, even though I hate using glue on Lego, yay. Well, while we let that dry, let's just attach this guy on like this. I mean, it doesn't look as good, but I guess it works. Neat. Okie dokie. There we go. Big, bad, and menacing, and missing his legs. Yep, nothing that a little bit of a friction adder joint can't fix. Nothing like some good old asymmetrical limbs to round out the day on an asymmetrical MOC. Alright, now let's get this bad boy all hooked up. And a 1, and a 2. And there we go. Here we have it. The big menacing man himself. I have no name for him. Woohoo! What I can say is that he's a lot of fun to pose. This prehensile arm really gives you a lot of possibilities, despite it being CCBS cancer. But hey, that's the fun of Tablescrap MOCs. Just random and weird enough to be fun, but also just completely random and weird enough to be made out of your leftover pieces so that it makes no sense and you could have had so many different choices to make it a more well-refined MOC, but because of your limitations, you come through to create the most interesting thing that you possibly can on a limited parts budget. I think what sells it for me is actually managing to keep a consistent color scheme, ignoring the light gray that occasionally pops up on him. He has a very monotone color scheme, only broken up by that red accent, which fits with the Skrull heritage that you can see in his head. That's a view only a mother could love. I mean, what Bionicle MOC has posable crotch armor? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye! I mean, you could also just turn his head around to actually have him be a Bone Hunter or Skrull MOC, so I guess I can use him as both a Hero Factory MOC, a random whatever Bionicle MOC, and a Bionicle MOC for 2009. Ain't that cool? Whoopsie